Welcome everybody, Dallas Hockey Girl here, DHG. Just thought I would welcome you to my kitchen. Everybody always asks me about recipes and all the things I make, so I just thought, well, let me bring you to my kitchen and show you what I do. So today we're going to make peanut butter cookies. It's pretty simple, but let me show you what I do to get ready before I bake stuff. Let me turn the camera around and I'll show you. So first of all, first time recording a video, so the camera work might not be super great, so bear with me. Okay, so let me turn the camera around. So first of all, you're going to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, maybe 325, depends on your oven. This is a gas oven. You might want to do a little bit differently if you have electric. And I have 4 pans here, which you'll find out why later. Spray them with the cooking spray to get them ready. And then I've got all my ingredients, so flour, brown sugar, white sugar, eggs, baking soda, baking powder, vanilla, and of course the peanut butter, a big bowl, and yeah. And then we're going to go over here. The other thing I do to get ready to make cookies is I put an extra leaf in my kitchen table. It says all the cookies are going to go there to cool off. Okay, so let's get started. Give me just a second. I'm going to set up the camera so you can hopefully see everything. Like I said, the camera work might not be very fast. Okay, so let's start here. I scribbled down the recipe on a piece of paper. Okay. And always make sure you've got your measuring cups and your measuring spoons, all that stuff, so that you have everything sort of ready. Where? Hold on, I am missing something. There it is. Butter. Alright, so I am making, this is a double recipe, and I'll explain why. So first of all, we're going to do 5 cups of flour, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. 5 cups of flour, and then 2 teaspoons of baking powder. I try and put my things away as I go if I know I'm not going to need them again, because it just helps keep more counter space. I don't have, it looks like I've got a lot of counter space, but I really don't. And 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Alright, put that away. And the salt. 1 teaspoon of salt. Alright, now, let's see, we'll do the sugar next. Doesn't really matter what order, I find, doesn't really matter what order you put the ingredients in, because you're going to mix them all together. This, for cookies, these cookies, it doesn't matter which order. 2 cups of white sugar. And you can adjust your sugar if you like. This is a fair bit of sugar. It's 2 cups of white sugar, 2 cups of brown sugar. And I like dark brown sugar, so that's what I use. But if you wanted to use a little bit less sugar, you certainly could. Totally up to you. I don't find this recipe, even though it looks like it's a lot of sugar, I don't find it overly sweet. So you can, but I know sometimes parents, when they're making stuff for their kids, they don't want a lot of sugar. Let's see, the next thing, 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And this is the really nice vanilla from Mexico. And if a little extra vanilla goes in your bowl, it's all good. This vanilla is really good. then we'll do the eggs. I'll move this, hopefully you can see on the camera. Always do your eggs in a separate bowl. I'll just toss the shells in the sink for right now and I'll get them later. So always do them in a separate bowl in case any shells. It's easier to sort of pick out any shells that fall in there. So just beat up your eggs. Toss them in the big bowl. Okay, we'll use that for later. And next thing, oh, we need a spoon. I knew I was going to forget something. I always do. Okay, so salt, sugar, eggs. Well, okay, so we have everything we need. I should have opened this beforehand. It's a brand new jar of peanut butter. There we go. Get scissors to get the label on. All right. So you're going to use your spoon. And it is 2 cups of peanut butter. So you just use your spoon, put it into your measuring cup. And it doesn't have to be exact. If you put in a little bit more or a little bit less peanut butter, that's okay. Alright. I'm trying to make sure I'm showing stuff on the camera. Hold on, let me make some space. There we go. So hopefully you can see things. Alright. Alright, so that's 1 cup of peanut butter. And the peanut butter part gets messy. It's very, very messy. And you can use, I prefer smooth peanut butter from cookies, but you can certainly use crunchy if you like. Totally personal preference. Absolutely personal preference. Alright. Okay, that's all the peanut butter. And then, so we're talking about the butter. So your butter has to be softened. So take it out the night before. Just put it on a plate. And just put it in. So 1 pound of butter is 2 cups. So the recipe calls for 1 cup. So it's just easier to use a whole stick of butter. So that's why I'm doubling it. And it's 1 pound of butter is 2 cups. But if you want to just make a single recipe, you can just cut it in half, put the other half in a bowl, and use it for whatever else you like. All right. Put that over there. Okay. Peanut butter away because we need a little space. Okay, so this, I'll show you. This is what our bowl looks like at the moment with all our stuff. Sorry, I told you, bad camera work. Alright, so I just get right in there, just use my hands. So that's why I thought I'll show you before. I'll show you before and after I'll mix it all up and then wash my hands, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So you just keep mixing it. It is messy, but that's okay. If you're not making a mess in the kitchen, you're not really cooking. So you make a mess. So just keep mixing and make sure everything gets really well mixed. All the sugar, flour, eggs, and the butter and the peanut butter. Just make sure it all gets mixed. doesn't take very long at all. You could certainly put it in a kitchen mixer if you wanted. My sister has one, and my sister lives next door, but it's so heavy and awkward, and it takes up a lot of space. And I find by the time I were to get the kitchen mixer, set it up, and mix everything, I've already could have done it with my hands. So I just use my hands for a lot of stuff. I'm a very simple girl. I don't get fancy. Alright. Just keep mooshing it off your hands. As you can see, very messy. That's something on my hands. Alright. So just keep mixing until it's all really, really well mixed. And then I'll show you how we're going to put it on the trays. There's a little bit of a trick to that, to make so that they turn out nice. You just kind of keep moving your bowl around and squishing all the stuff around to make sure everything gets really, really well mixed, because that's the main thing. Whether it's peanut butter cookies, shortbread, or chocolate chip cookies, you want to make sure everything gets really, really well mixed, because then your cookies will turn out really, really nice. Okay, we should be just about ready. Always make sure you work your way at the bottom of the bowl, because there'll always be a little bit of sugar or flour there. Okay. Mess all over the counter. All right. Okay. All right. You want to try and scrape as much stuff off your hands as you can, because that's all cookies. All right. You just wash my hands, and I'll show you what it looks like now that it's all mixed. Okay. You sure? So that's what it looks like, all pretty well mixed. Stay, camera. Okay. I'm trying to get the camera to stay where I put it. That's the problem. Okay. So then what you're going to do, and I've had a lot of practice at this, so mine generally come up about the same size, but you're just going to roll your cookies into a ball to start. And you just sort of space them out. You make sure they're spaced out a bit on the tray so that they can expand and everything when they cook. And this recipe, let me think, a single recipe is about 5 dozen, so this will be about 10 dozen cookies, give or take. Depends on how big you make them. But they do, you put them in a Tupperware in the fridge, and they can last quite a while. So it's peanut butter cookies are good for, because they'll last. So it's something nice to have in your fridge. And you can certainly freeze them too if you like, and take them out later. So then I'll show you So one thing that happens when I cook, my towel just ends up everywhere all over the kitchen. Okay, so now I'll show you. So here's what the cookies look like. So you roll them all out in a ball, and then you're just going to squish them with a fork. So that they're all pretty flat. So that they look like that. Alright, let me set you back up again. Turn the camera around. There we go. Okay. So now I'm going to do the other 3 trays really quick. So as I said before, the reason we've got 4 trays is that because we're doing a double batch, and that does take a little time, we're going to get all the trays ready. Because what you do is you put 2 trays in, because they only take about 8 to 10 minutes. Again, that's going to vary a little bit depending on your oven. So the first, if you've never made these before, or it's a new recipe, certainly watch. I would start with 8 minutes on the first batch, and then see if they're the way you like. Some folks like them a little bit darker, some folks like them a little bit lighter. Totally up to you. But the first ones you put in the oven, I would start them at the 8 minutes and then go from there if you want to leave them in a bit longer or not. And then you'll have an idea of how long they need to be in for the way you like. So I put 2 trays in, and then as soon as I take the one set of trays out, the other set goes in. So it's always sort of a revolving door as you make them, because otherwise if you're waiting, you're having to roll out cookies and then get them in the oven. That always takes time. Okay, so actually what we're going to do is throw these in the oven. Here, we'll show you that. My oven's not very fancy. There they go, into the oven. Timer. 8. So we'll do 8 minutes. Camera. Stay. There. Alright, so I'm going to roll out these other 2 so that they're ready. Because when the cookies come out, you want to leave them for a couple of minutes just to cool just a little bit. Because if they're too soft, if you go to take them off the tray right away, when they're really soft, they'll break and squish and everything, and they won't come off the tray very nice if you just take them off when they're super, super hot. So you just need to leave them for a couple of minutes to cool. So if you put the other set of trays in, by the time you let the other cookies cool, you put them on the table, and then you roll out 2 new trays. That's 8 minutes. So that's what I mean. It's a revolving door. So it can get pretty busy for the hour or so that you're actually baking the cookies. Depending on how many you make. And like I said, I've done these a lot, so I'm pretty quick. Alright, last tray. So tell me, what are some of your favorite recipes? They don't have to be dessert or cookie recipes, but if there's other recipes that people like, let me know. Because I'm always looking for new recipes. It's always good to look at a new recipe. When you look at it, you might kind of go, I don't know. Always try it. Always try it at least once. Always try it at least once, and then see if you like it. And I always try, my pro tip always, not that I'm a pro, but my tip is when you make a recipe for the first time, always follow it pretty exactly to the instructions, and then see how it turns out. And then you can sort of modify it after that, like add a little more salt or a little more butter or whatever you think you can always add after that. So I'm just rolling out these cookies. So each tray has a dozen cookies. So like I say, that's a lot. It will add up here pretty quick to a lot of cookies. We'll just squish them down with our fork. And if one doesn't squish very well, you can always re-roll it and do it again. All right. So that's how you basically make peanut butter cookies. So I'll come back in just a little bit and I'll show you what they're like when they come out. Welcome back, everybody. So there's about 10 seconds left before our first batch of cookies are ready. So let me where did I put them? So I've got my spatula to take them off the tray. There it is. And then my oven mitt. Let me just turn off the timer. Otherwise it'll keep going on. All right. Let me flip the camera around. And there they are. So like I said, you want to give them a couple of minutes just to cool because they're really soft. And then in goes the other trays. Ah, bang. Can't work a camera and cook. All right, so there they are. So we're just going to give them a minute to cool. And then we're going to take them over to the table and get them off the tray. And then we'll roll more cookies because this is what we have left. So that'll take a little time. Let me get my spatula. It's probably been long enough. And we'll take these over to the table. All right. So you always want to be very careful when cookies are hot. Let me go see if I can do this on a better camera angle. So just slide them off the tray and onto the table. And there you are, and they'll just sit there and cool. See, one was really soft and it broke. Because that's just what happens. So, we'll just keep going and rolling more cookies. So I hope this was fun. I hope you enjoyed it and liked the recipe. And we'll see you again soon.